My beloved brothers and sisters, today's topic is a powerful one that hits close to home for many. Why are you always mentally disturbed? And now, before you feel offended or defensive, I want you to understand, this is not a question of blame. This is a question of awareness, of healing, and ultimately of hope. Disconnection from Allah causes inner chaos, my dear brothers and sisters. Let me remind you gently, one of the greatest reasons why many of us feel mentally disturbed, anxious, and restless is because of our distance from Allah. It is a reality that when your heart drifts away from its creator, you begin to experience a void, a turbulence inside that nothing else can fill. You see, the human heart was created with a purpose, an innate need to connect, to find tranquility, to find meaning. And this connection is ultimately with Allah, the most merciful, the most loving. When that connection weakens, the heart becomes like a ship lost at sea, tossed by every wave of worry, fear, and sadness. It is as Allah says in the Holy Qur'an, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28. This is a profound reminder that the cure for our mental turmoil lies not in material things, not in worldly distractions, but in turning back to Allah with sincerity and love. Sometimes we chase after so many things: success, money, relationships, recognition. But these are like fleeting shadows. They might bring temporary happiness, but the deeper part inside remains unsettled. You might have everything in this world, yet still feel empty because you forgot the one who created you, who knows you better than you know yourself. The heart longs for that connection. When we disconnect, it starts to scream in confusion. You might feel this as constant stress, negative thoughts, restlessness, or even a general sense of sadness without knowing why. Think about the times when you truly turned to Allah in dua, when you sincerely sought His help, His mercy, His guidance. Didn't you feel, even if just for a moment, a wave of calmness, a lightness in your chest? That is the effect of connecting to the divine. And yet, in this busy world, we often forget this. We fill our days with endless distractions, phones, social media, worries, and the heart is left lonely. It cries silently because its only true peace is found in the remembrance of Allah. When was the last time you sat down quietly, away from the noise, and spoke to Allah from your heart? When was the last time you opened the Qur'an and felt its words reach? Gentle ease begins when you reconnect with the one who created you. It's not complicated, nor is it far away. It is as close as your next prayer, your next whispered dua, your next sincere moment of turning your face to the Qibla. Neglecting prayer weakens your spiritual immunity, my dear brothers and sisters. Let me speak to you about something very important, something that is at the very heart of our connection with Allah, and that is prayer, salah. Sometimes we forget how much power lies in those few moments we dedicate each day to standing before our Creator. And when we neglect prayer, our spiritual defenses weaken, leaving us vulnerable to stress, confusion, and despair. Imagine prayer as your spiritual immune system. Just like your body needs food, water, and rest to fight off physical illness, your soul needs prayer to shield itself from the sickness of anxiety, depression, and the chaos of the world. Every time you perform salah with sincerity, you are recharging your heart with spiritual energy. You are refueling your soul's strength. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The coolness of my eyes is in prayer." Imagine that. The moment he found comfort, peace, and coolness was in prayer. It was his refuge, his sanctuary. Yet, how often do we rush through our prayers? How often do we delay them until the very last moment? Sometimes we miss them altogether, and when that happens, the soul becomes like a body deprived of oxygen. It struggles to breathe. It becomes vulnerable to negative thoughts, stress, and feelings of despair. You may wonder, why do I feel so disturbed? Why is my heart restless? And the answer is very often linked to neglecting the very act designed to protect you, salah. Brothers and sisters, prayer is not just a ritual to be checked off your daily list. It is a lifeline. It is your direct conversation with Allah. It is your chance to unload your worries, to seek forgiveness, to ask for help, and to remember that no matter how difficult life becomes, you are not alone. Think about your day. How many times do you stop to reconnect with Allah? 5 times a day, Allah gives us an opportunity to pause, reflect, and renew our faith. When you skip that, you leave your spiritual doors open for stress and anxiety to enter. Our spiritual immunity is tested in the battles of everyday life, the challenges at work, the problems in the family, the uncertainties of the future. Prayer is the armor that protects us from being overwhelmed by these trials. And remember, the Prophet also taught us that even when you are overwhelmed, prayer is the way back. It is not a burden but a mercy. When you are tired, when you feel lost, turn to your prayer. It is also important to realize that prayer trains your mind to focus, your heart to calm, and your soul to trust. With each rak'ah, you practice surrender, patience, and reliance on Allah's wisdom and mercy. Sometimes we feel so overwhelmed that even the idea of praying seems difficult, but that is exactly the time when prayer is most needed. It is the medicine for a restless mind and a troubled heart. So ask yourself honestly, how often do you connect with your Lord throughout the day? When was the last time you felt truly peaceful after prayer? And if you don't feel that peace, ask yourself, are you really praying with presence, with attention, or just going through the motions? Because neglecting prayer weakens your spiritual immunity. It leaves you exposed to the storms of life without an anchor, without a shelter. Carrying the past and fearing the future drains your mind, my dear brothers and sisters. One of the heaviest burdens a person can carry is the weight of the past and the fear of the future. Many of us live trapped between two places that we cannot change or control. We replay mistakes, regrets, and hurts from yesterday while simultaneously worrying about what tomorrow might bring. You know, the mind is like a garden. If we allow weeds of regret and anxiety to grow unchecked, they will overrun the flowers of peace and contentment. When you carry the past with you, those moments of failure, moments of pain, or even moments of guilt, it becomes a heavy chain that drags you down. How many times have you found yourself thinking, if only I had done things differently? Or why did I say that? Or I can't forgive myself for what happened? These thoughts loop endlessly, and they poison your heart and disturb your peace. The Prophet Muhammad himself experienced grief and loss, but he taught us that while we must acknowledge our pain, we should not be imprisoned by it. And then there is the fear of the future, the unknown. We worry about our health, our livelihood, our relationships, even about death. The future is uncertain, and that uncertainty causes the heart to race, the mind to spin in anxiety. We ask ourselves, what will happen tomorrow? Will I be successful? Will I be safe? But Allah tells us in the Qur'an, and do not grieve over what has passed, and do not fear what is to come. Paraphrased meaning from various verses, we are taught to put our trust in Allah, to plan and prepare, but not to be overwhelmed by fear. Because excessive worry does not add a single moment to our lives nor solve our problems, it only drains our mental energy. When you constantly carry the past on your back and stare anxiously at the future, you forget to live in the present moment, the gift Allah has given you. You miss the beauty of today, the opportunities of now, and the mercy that surrounds you at this very moment. Remember, the Prophet taught us to take each day as it comes, to live with gratitude and hope. When you fixate on the past or obsess over what lies ahead, your mind becomes restless and disturbed. You lose clarity and peace. It is as if you are running a race, but looking backward or too far ahead, you will surely stumble. The solution lies in balancing your trust in Allah's plan, learning from your past without being chained to it, and preparing for the future without letting fear consume you. And remember, Allah is always near. He knows your struggles, your pains, your hopes, and your fears. When you turn to Him with a sincere heart, You find comfort beyond what the world can offer. Too much noise, not enough Qur'an, my dear brothers and sisters. In today's world, our minds are bombarded with noise, constant noise. From the moment we wake up, our ears are filled with chatter, the buzzing of phones, the endless notifications, the loud music, the constant stream of social media, the worries of the news, and the noise of everyday life. And with all this noise, the Qur'an often becomes a whisper that we no longer hear. We forget that the Qur'an is not just a book. It is the speech of Allah, the words of guidance, mercy, and healing. It is a light that shines in the darkness. When we let the noise take over, our hearts become confused and distracted. We lose our connection to what truly nourishes the soul. Allah says in the Qur'an, "This is the book about which there is no doubt, a guidance for those conscious of Allah." But how can it guide us if we never open it, if we do not listen to it with attention and humility? We live in a world that is loud, but the Qur'an teaches us to seek moments of quiet reflection. It teaches us to pause, to listen, to internalize. But instead, we fill every moment with noise that clouds our minds and burdens our hearts. Think about it. When was the last time you sat down to listen to the Qur'an without distraction? When was the last time you reflected on its meanings and let it speak directly to your heart? When was the last time you allowed its words to soothe your worries, to calm your fears? The Prophet Muhammad was the best of all human beings, yet he would spend time alone reflecting and reciting the Qur'an. This was his source of strength and peace. He taught us that the Qur'an is a cure for the heart, a light for the soul, and a guide for our lives. But today, many of us have replaced the Qur'an with noise that does not satisfy. We scroll endlessly on our phones, listen to music that stirs up emotions but doesn't heal, engage in conversations that distract us from our purpose. Brothers and sisters, the noise creates confusion. The Qur'an brings clarity. The noise distracts. The Qur'an guides. The noise exhausts the mind. The Qur'an rejuvenates the heart. We must make time for the Qur'an, even if it is just a few minutes a day. We must not let the noise drown out the voice of our Creator, because when the Qur'an speaks to your heart, it quiets the chaos within. It reminds you who you are, where you came from, and where you are headed. So ask yourself, what fills your day? Is it the endless noise of the world, or timeless words of the Qur'an? Because until we replace some of that noise with the Qur'an, our minds will remain restless and our hearts unsettled. You need to forgive and seek healing, my dear brothers and sisters. One of the heaviest weights we carry on our hearts is the burden of hurt caused by others, by circumstances, by mistakes, or by the pain of loss. And often this hurt grows into bitterness, anger, and resentment that settle deep within our souls. It is like poison that spreads quietly, disturbing our peace and disturbing our mental health. Islam is a religion of mercy, compassion, and healing. The Prophet Muhammad was the most forgiving of all people. He forgave those who harmed him, those who betrayed him, those who oppressed him. His heart was full of mercy because he understood that forgiveness is not for the one who wronged you, it is for your own peace. Sometimes we hold on to pain because we think forgiving means forgetting or accepting what was done, but forgiveness in Islam is a gift you give yourself. It is the key to unlocking the chains that bind your heart. When you refuse to forgive, you carry the burden every single day. The anger and bitterness eat away at your mental and emotional well-being. You become trapped in a prison of your own making, and who suffers most? You do. The Prophet taught us, the best among you are those who forgive when they have power over others. This is a reminder that true strength lies in forgiveness, not in holding grudges, but forgiveness is only part of the journey. Healing is also essential. Sometimes the wounds run deep, betrayals, losses, trauma. It is okay to seek help. Islam encourages us to take care of our mental and emotional health, seeking counseling, talking to a trusted friend or scholar, making sincere dua. All these are steps towards healing. You do not have to carry your pain alone. Allah's mercy is vast, and He loves those who turn to Him in times of difficulty. Healing begins when you acknowledge your pain, when you cry out to Allah, and when you take the necessary steps to mend your heart. Remember, the Prophet also showed us how to heal through patience, prayer, and trust in Allah's wisdom. He faced immense trials but never allowed his heart to harden. Instead, he continually sought Allah's help and forgiveness. So, my dear brothers and sisters, if your mind is disturbed, if your heart is restless, ask yourself, are you holding on to pain that you need to release? Have you forgiven those who hurt you, or are you still carrying that weight? Have you sought the healing that your soul desperately needs? Because forgiveness and healing are not signs of weakness, they are signs of profound strength and deep faith. They are the keys to peace of mind and tranquility of heart.